Hey, greetings, Fright Nights. I'm Count Jackula,
I'm the Horror Guru.
and we're reviewing something a little bit out of our wheelhouse this time. A little bit. We don't usually review strictly superhero comic book stuff, but we just got done watching the first episode of Marvel's Daredevil, the new Netflix show about
Daredevil.
Batman. Oh, wait, was it Daredevil?
Bat Devil. Daredevil.
It's yeah, this is about Daredevil. And wow.
This show.
Wow.
Holy shit. Okay. Little bit of backstory for me a little bit. Daredevil has been one of my favorite comic book superheroes since I was like a fucking kid. He was the one superhero that like I didn't get into because of a cartoon or anything. There was only like one episode of I think the Fantastic Four show where he like randomly showed up. I don't remember if he showed up in Spider-Man or whatever. So this was a character that I got into strictly because I started reading the comics and I couldn't stop.
You got a man crush on Daredevil.
Yeah, exactly.
You might go gay for Matt Murdock a little bit.
Exactly. Matt Murdock, he's on my list. So for me, this show is like it's the show I've always wanted to see because I always thought Daredevil was actually better suited for television than he was for movies because the premise is that he is a lawyer by day and Daredevil by night, and that always to me sounded like that's perfect for like an episodic TV show like Law and Order with superpowers. And
yeah. Instead of it being like the cops, it's Daredevil.
Yeah, exactly. So at night he's got to get his hands dirty. Then during the day he has to like protect someone from a wrongful accusation.
Yeah.
And so far, that looks like what they're doing with this, but they're also doing a whole lot of world building, which is pretty fucking awesome.
Yeah, they do tons of world building in that first episode. It's actually really, really impressive.
Absolutely.
Now, you knew they were going to set up Kingpin. Like,
you knew
that was going to happen.
Like, you can't have Daredevil without Kingpin. It's just, it's so ingrained. Like, he wasn't originally a massive supervillain for Daredevil, but like ever since the 80s, like when Frank Miller kind of revitalized Daredevil, they're synonymous. You can't have one without the other. Sorry, Spider-Man. I know he was originally yours, but nope. He's Daredevil's villain now.
Pretty much. You think, wow, yeah, they make the Kingpin's network like extremely international when it lays the groundwork for a lot of the Hell's Kitchen gangsters that Daredevil runs into. Like
there's a Slavic group, which totally leaves room for, if they want to bring Elektra in later down the line. There's an Asian group, which obviously is probably how the Hand's gonna get into play.
They're Chinese, but like I'm suspecting they're gonna turn into the Hand.
I mean, well, if it turns out they're not, and there's something else, I'll be cool too. But like the moment you see them, you look at them, you're like, oh man, is it the Hand? Am I being racist because I think it's the Hand?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I can tell they're speaking Mandarin.
Yeah, they are.
So they might not be, but that is definitely the feel that they give you.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's various other things set up throughout the thing. Jeez, where do we fucking
Claire?
Claire?
Yeah. Oh God.
Karen.
Yeah.
Yes. The first case that Matt Murdock has, and this opens up with him opening basically his fucking
his law practice.
His law firm with his buddy Foggy, who is, by the way, perfectly casted.
Yeah, they nailed that character.
Foggy is awesome. Like I wasn't sure how they were gonna top fucking God damn it, Iron Man director, fucking son of a bitch. I am now gonna kill
Shane Black?
No, not Shane Black. Iron Man 1 and 2. The director of Iron Man 1 and 2 played Foggy in the fucking Ben Affleck one, and he was perfect in that too. But like, thankfully, the rest of the show is much better than.
Oh yeah. The show opens up with Daredevil's origin
Yes.
having just happened. Like, there's this big car accident, there's chemicals all over the place. As a kid, you're like crying in the street, like, Dad, I can't see.
Almost immediately, like you don't know anything about these characters beyond, you know, that they're father and son, but almost immediately I'm having my heartstrings pulled way more than in the other movie.
Well, they did this one critical thing. It was a small detail, but I was like, oh no, you set him up as a hero from the beginning.
Yes,
This is awesome. Like, this old guy's like crawling out of, you know, some wreckage. He's like, that little kid saved my life.
Yes, yes.
The minute he says that, I was like, oh my God, I'm in.
And then, like, as
Holy crap.
the dad's realizing what's happening to his kid's eyes, and he's trying to get the shit out of his eyes, like, close your eyes, son, close your eyes. You're just like, oh no, jeez. It's like, Dad, I can't see. He's like,
yeah. Cut from that immediately to a confessional.
Yes, which is the most Daredevil thing ever. Is Daredevil in the confessional, confessing his sins. Rarely does he confess his sins for what he's done. It's for what he's about to do, which they fucking nailed. Perfect. And I'm glad because like you know, because it's Daredevil, that guy's gonna be a reoccurring priest throughout the whole thing, and he's perfect. He's fucking perfect.
Yeah, they're very obviously going to be doing this thing in the show where periodically young Matt Murdock will be flashing back to little Matt Murdock, dealing like with his dad. I'm hoping Stick shows up.
Oh, you know he's going to show up. You know he's going to show up because at some point they're going to have to fill in the gap for how he learned to fight as well as he does, because he's not just boxing. His dad was a boxer. Like, how he'd know to throw a punch comes from his dad, but he's straight up doing martial arts moves and shit, which he's got to learn that from somebody.
I love the line that they wrote where Matt Murdock is talking about his dad, and he's like, there was a bit of the devil in him.
Yes,
you know?
yes.
Like, it's so cheesy. It's so awesome.
Well, I love the small moment when it flashes back to his dad, and his dad's like trying to convince him to keep reading because, you know, he never did, and so he doesn't want him to turn up like him. And he has that line where it's just like, you know, I didn't read, and look how I turned out. And that's the moment where he kind of like, it kind of clicks. Is like, well, wait, my son can't look. You know, my son's blind. And he has this like touching moment where he takes his son's hands and puts it
against his face. His face is fucked up.
Yeah, because he obviously had just come back from some sort of fight. We don't know what. Given that it's Daredevil, we can assume that he was either boxing or actually like working for a crime boss, because that's what he did in the comics. Like,
yeah. Oh man, they got the girl who plays
Jessica.
Karen,
yeah,
Jessica from True Blood plays
Karen Page. Yes, plays Karen Page, who, if you're a Daredevil fan, Karen Page if you're not a Daredevil fan, Karen Page in the comics was Matt and Foggy's secretary, who eventually, you know, fell for Matt, and then, you know, eventually their relationship falls apart. She moves to California, becomes a pornographic actress, gets
hooked on drugs, gets HIV.
becomes a feminist activist at one point, and then gets killed by Bullseye because of Kevin Smith.
Yeah, I love Kevin Smith's fucking reason why he did that. He's like, I felt like we had just done so much to this girl. Can't she just get a break?
Get a rest. Just give her a rest. Like just give her the eternal rest, so that way she doesn't have to deal with shit anymore. The comics
she kind of was like the girl who was always put in the refrigerator,
yes.
But it was never necessarily something that had to do with the plot. It was always like a PSA.
Well, yeah.
She was like a walking PSA for whatever they wanted to condemn at the
80s,
time.
that got really bad, where during the 80s, she just...
redonkulous.
It was just like, oh, like, now we're going to talk about drug addiction, and let's bring Karen Page back in. And, yeah, those weren't the most shining moments of the comics, I gotta say.
No, this was pretty bad.
But one thing I will say is that that
was pre-Miller, wasn't it?
No,
that was
some of that was Miller, and some of that was post-Miller.
Yeah, I don't know Daredevil as well as I know some of the other stuff.
You know? I do know that she was definitely a junkie in some of Miller's stuff, if I recall correctly.
All right.
which isn't surprising.
No,
it's not surprising.
No, it's not surprising at all.
By the way, if I'm off by a couple writers, then I apologize. It has been like once Civil War happened, I kind of fell off the comic bandwagon for a while, so I haven't revisited like Daredevil comics since like God, when was that? Like 2007, 8?
Yeah, something about right that period of time. You know, about the time we were doing the Iron Man movies.
Yeah,
when
yeah.
we started up. Oh geez, yeah, Civil War, which I'm not. It's an idea that when they came up with that idea, I was actually on board, but the execution was bad, which is why I'm not gonna automatically condemn Captain America Civil War because
Yeah.
I'm like, you know, this had a lot of potential. You could actually do that story really, 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 really well. You have to change a lot of the plot points, but that basic idea of like superhero registration and all that stuff, I can see the Marvel Universe doing that extremely well.
Yes. Yes, and
It's too bad the comic universe didn't.
Well, I mean,
do
it's
very
like
well
it's
with
like
it.
the Winter Soldier the Winter Soldier story in the comics was not that good. But
oh, you shut your mouth.
Sorry if they're fans of that comic, but I never thought that comic was that great of a storyline. But they made it work in the movie.
They did.
You know?
They did.
So I hope they can do that for Civil War, because Civil War I wasn't too big on the Civil War stuff. I did hear that around the time I fell off of reading comics, that the whole storyline of Daredevil separate from the Civil War, where he ends up in prison, like the Daredevil in prison storyline, I heard that was pretty good, but I never read it, so I don't know.
I actually thought it was really interesting. Like, I was looking at the cast list, like Rosario Dawson's in Marvel's Daredevil. I was kind of surprised they didn't make her Karen, because she's like the bigger star.
They could have done that, but I will say this is that the actress they did cast is
she's perfect.
She visually she's spot on.
Yeah.
And plus like because of the 80s, one of the trademark characteristics of Karen is that on top of you know of being like essentially in the comics one of Matt Murdock's main love interests for most of it, she's also usually shown as really broken. And
that actress can play broken really well.
And so when we see her, because in the I realize we kind of diverged a little bit. The first case is with Karen. Karen is found above a murdered guy, and then is taken in by the police. But she doesn't remember what happened, and all she remembers is that she had a drink at a bar with this guy, and then she woke up over his body, and he was just dead.
Yeah.
And she's convinced that she's being framed because of something that happened at her work.
Yeah. It turns out it's
she uncovered a conspiracy.
It's like the embezzled retirement fund.
Yeah.
So you're like, well, that's the kingpin.
The embezzled pension.
The pension.
The pension.
Always go after the retirement money.
Yeah,
That's the big money.
And she was the secretary handling, and that was fucking brilliant. It's just like, what's her name? Karen Page. And I was like, oh shit! And then it's just like, well, tell us what happened. Well, I'm a secretary. I was like, oh shit!
Yeah, you lost it. You lost it when that happened. It was amazing.
Unfortunately, that meant when the criminals, the criminal underworld tried to have her killed in her cell, I knew she wasn't gonna die, because they weren't gonna kill Karen that early and not by the hands of Bullseye. You know?
Yeah.
Or Kingpin.
You can't really do that without her being killed by one of the named villains.
Yes.
Does Bullseye even show up in the show?
I have no idea. We've only watched one episode.
Yeah, we watched the one episode, but
I liked it
so much.
I'm not looking shit up on this because I want to experience it as I go. I did not know she was playing Karen until we were watching, so I was like,
yeah. The reason we're doing this vlog is because we wanted to let everyone know as soon as possible that yes, this show looks really, really, really good, and you should check it out, because I'm sure there are going to be a lot of people like on the fence going like, oh, I don't know.
So far,
I was on the fence because I was like, this could just be balls.
Well, especially since we saw him like all the promotional material shows him in that black outfit, and while that black outfit does appear in the comics, I believe it's actually Born Again where he wears that, if I'm remembering correctly. It doesn't quite scream Daredevil, the way the yellow or red outfit does. But I don't want them to do the yellow one because the yellow one looks awful.
Well, I would be happy if they do like the yellow outfit in like a flashback.
Okay, yeah,
you know,
sure.
It's like he's training with Stick, and he's like, you gotta wear something, and he's like, okay, I can't see shit, but that looks okay. That feels okay. He puts it on. Guy's like, what the hell is? Okay, you're blind, right? Good thing.
Oh, if they play it off where it's something that's just if they play it off where it's something just like, why do I gotta wear this or whatever? It's like, because if you could be stealthy in that, you could be stealthy in anything.
Oh, that'd be brilliant.
So far we've only watched the first episode, so we haven't seen him don the red outfit yet. But I do know that he does, and I'm excited.
Oh
to
yeah,
see
it's obvious from the title sequence that he puts on the red outfit because we see him in it.
Absolutely. Holy shit! I'm so excited, man. I'm so.
I like how the intro is basically like blood covering the city, but the only parts of the city you see are those covered in blood. So it's like you're seeing it through Daredevil's eyes.
Yeah, it's Hell's Kitchen. You know, it's a city paved with blood. It's just
I really like how they handled Daredevil's superpower in this over the movie. Over the Ben Affleck movie.
The movie made it really, really flashy, but they actually did it really subtly here, and it actually really works.
Yeah, it's largely done with speed ramping, and speed ramping is that thing where something goes real quick and goes a little slower, and they don't overuse that at all.
Yeah, well, sometimes they'll use slow motion to like, oh, he's hearing something in a distance, so we're gonna like slow motion, like zoom into something that he's hearing, like this chain over here, and then he'll grab that chain and use it, and it's really cool. Or
because they mainly let you know that he's using his powers with the sound effects.
Yes, and also I really love the use of the blurry image when he's listening to people's hearts, and like, because it doesn't matter what their face is saying, it's what's saying in here, and he can't even see its face, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
so it's how their hearts
what he uses his like heightened senses to tell whether someone's lying to him. Like the screen gets blurry, but and the actual sound gets a little muffled, but he like starts zeroing in on specific sounds, so you're like, you know what Daredevil is perceiving and how he's coming to the conclusion he's about to come to.
And I also like the writing of how they're playing that, like when you know that he knows the person's lying, but like how he acts afterwards, where it's just like, okay, I'm not gonna let them know first that I know they're lying, but I am definitely gonna follow them later or something. You know, it's like this is Daredevil. Like this is fucking Daredevil. Once he puts on the costume, it'll be complete for me. Like it'll be great.
Pretty much. Like,
also visually, the show's great.
Oh, it is. It does. It's another one of those. That's something that actually does kind of bring it into our wheelhouse, because everyone knows Daredevil was best in the late 80s. That's when it was best. And so they've decided to recreate that look for the show. And the thing I love is the way they find ways to justify it, because it's usually when you see that it's not the lighting, the bright colored saturated lighting is not always in 80s movies. It's not always motivated. It's usually just there.
Yeah.
You know, just to make the scene look nice.
You know, it's like a person's underneath a table and you're like, there's a light on their face coming from down below. How did that happen? Or whatever, you know, that kind of stuff.
But in this show, that lighting is completely motivated. It exists in the world and in the scene.
But it still looks ripped straight out of a Frank Miller comic.
Yeah, it does. Because, well, let's be honest. What other era are you going to take visual cues from?
Well,
like, he had the most striking one of any of the Daredevil artists.
Oh, definitely.
It's sort of like how when Sam Raimi did Spider-Man, when you got down to it, who was he going to make it visually look like? It's gonna go with John Romita.
Well, of course. Like,
you know?
Who else would you go with?
Exactly. Like, you have to do it that way. And like this show knows who its daddy is.
Yes, absolutely.
And I really appreciate that. But it doesn't necessarily. It doesn't look like it's going to go, for lack of a better way of putting it, the full Miller. Just go like so ridiculous that you're like, oh, fucking really, man. You know, the parts of Miller that aren't going to play well today don't look like they're going to show up.
I hope not for the most part. I could do without Karen being put through that much of a ringer.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, me too.
I don't mind if they have Karen go through shit in this, but like the moment she came back with HIV, you're like, are you, really? After all that, she comes back with HIV. Damn, you hate this woman, don't you, comics?
Yeah. Oh.
But to be fair, in terms of love interests of Daredevil, the comics were never kind to any of them.
No, never.
Like Elektra didn't fare much better.
Well, at least she lives. She lives.
After
I don't know.
dying.
Yeah. I don't know how much of a blessing that is, but like she lives.
You know, and it's only a matter.
And they do like lay the groundwork for Elektra in the first episode.
Yeah. There's the potential there, like because they introduced like an entire Slavic crime family. There's this entire possibility they might, you know, connect that with Elektra Nachios.
Yeah.
All they need to do is just say that it's the Nachios family, and then there you go.
Yeah, we're good. We know it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
You know, it may not. And the thing I love about it is like not Daredevil has not one of those heroes that you can get into the meat of simply. He's not like Batman. Batman is instant, you know, like kid sees his mother and father shot, he wars on crime by dressing up as a bat for the rest of his life. Okay, done. Now, who are his villains? There they are. Now they fight, and we just come up with a reason for that to happen. Daredevil is a bit more layered.
Yeah.
You know, not that a super simple like hero like Batman can't work. Obviously, it does.
Yeah. Well, absolutely.
You know, you could do a lot of stuff with that, but there's a lot of layers built into Daredevil.
Well, because Daredevil is usually dealing with like a highly intricate criminal network. You know, so Batman deals with that too, but it's rarely as intricate as it is in Daredevil, to where it's like,
well, the thing you can do with Batman is that Batman figures it out, and he kind of explains it while he's punching out like a criminal. And it's like, oh, I knew you were the guy who did this. Pow! You know. Whereas Daredevil isn't like that. He doesn't really banter with his villains as much. He says things, but it's not like Batman or Spider-Man. And usually what's cool about watching Daredevil do stuff is watching him figure shit out. So you have to build that up. And the way Daredevil always came across was, this would work way better as a television show.
Yeah, in my opinion, it was always way better suited for this. And
this especially like a show where there's like no rating.
Yes.
You know, because this show has got to be able to be as violent as it needs to be. Otherwise, it's not going to work.
Well, that's one of the big problems with Daredevil, like bringing him to any form of medium in the past was that like they didn't want to make a cartoon out of him because A, he wasn't that big, and B, he was too dark. Even though Batman the animated series was popular, Marvel wasn't willing to go like that dark.
The only defense I have of that move is what version of Daredevil could you have done that wouldn't have essentially been Marvel's version of Batman the animated series?
Well, sure, absolutely. Absolutely. And then when they were bringing the movie to life, like everyone wanted to make it like Spider-Man. And
that which was not the right direction to go either.
Which is like, no, you can't do that. And even then, like the people making the movie tried to fight that tooth and nail. But as much as I respect what they were making, movie is the director's cut's fine, but just fine.
Yeah, who was the director of the original?
The director is Simon Birch.
Because I remember one of the things I remember while watching Daredevil is, much like when I was watching Ghost Rider.
Same guy.
Oh, that's right. All right, so I have one major criticism of both of those movies, both the original Daredevil movie and the original Ghost Rider movie, which is, look, dude, The Crow is a great movie.
Yes.
I love that movie. I understand how you would think that taking that tone with these two characters would be a good idea. The problem is you suck at it. Like, Daredevil wanted to be the Alex Proyas' Crow so bad, and so did fucking Ghost Rider. Which, the thing is, when you think about that inspiration, you're like, no, that's actually a good inspiration. But the problem is, it sucked.
Yeah. Well, plus, it's like both those properties needed to be an R-rated movie.
Oh, yeah.
And he was not allowed to even do that. So
Oh,
even as much as I don't like his vision of it, even then he was still crippled, and I feel bad for him for that because I would love
like,
to have
yeah,
seen.
completely set up to fail in both
Yeah,
cases, definitely.
absolutely. And also like because it was pre, Dark Knight, everyone wanted happy-go-lucky Spider-Man superhero movies, and then Dark Knight happened, and then everyone wanted dark superhero movies, and now we have the opposite problem where everyone's taking the light superheroes and making them dark, whereas in the past we were making the dark superheroes and making them light. And it's
That's a good point. Yeah. Like the only people who are nailing it right now is the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
well,
They're
because
nailing
Marvel
it.
understands its characters, even though they've fucked up in the past in the comics or whatever. They at least understand that Daredevil is supposed to be dark. It's supposed to be more of an R rating. Spider-Man is light, which we'll find out when they eventually do their stuff with Spider-Man.
Yeah, yeah. That news just came down, didn't it? Like the last couple of days, like the whole thing with when
The Drew Goddard thing? Oh,
yeah.
that's been going around for a while ever since
Okay.
the whole like announcement of the combined deal happened. So
Yeah, well,
we'll
that's
find out how that goes.
yeah, because like at first it was like, well, there's only going to be like only Sony's going to do a separate Spider-Man movie, but they could have Spider-Man in the cinematic universe, and then that changed again, and
Yeah, we'll
I don't
see
even
how
know.
we'll see once we see a trailer for something, we'll at least know something's happening.
Yeah, at that point we'll have an idea of what's going to happen. I want to watch them scrap the entire idea they had for the Sony Spider-Man universe.
Well, because it was
completely.
awful. Those movies
Yeah.
were awful and their ideas were awful, and I want that fucking franchise buried. Like, start from scratch, for the love of fuck. Good God. As much as people hate Spider-Man 3, I could still watch Spider-Man 1 and 2 and see, like, fantastic movies.
Well, it doesn't shit on anything I care about because I've gone on record as saying I hate Venom.
Yeah.
Like, I do not think Venom
Well,
is a good
the only
character.
thing that Spider-Man 3 does that kind of hurts the first movies a little bit is their retconning of Uncle Ben. But it's easy to watch those two movies and just ignore the third movie. Like, it's just...
Yeah, and considering that, like, the cinematic universe is going to have probably its own Spider-Man continuity.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're starting over. Okay.
Well, it's kind of like how it's very easy to watch all four of the original Batman series and ignore some of them for each other. Like, it's very easy to ignore
Yeah.
Forever and Robin when watching Batman and Batman Returns,
Yeah, because they don't even feel like they're the same in the same franchise.
Yeah, even though they're supposed to be.
Yeah. Yeah, they're supposed to be, but you're like, and they're even directly connected through in dialogue scenes.
Yeah.
But yeah, they don't feel the same at all.
And fucking Two-Face goes from black to white in the course of a movie. I'm so sorry, Billy D. Your Two-Face would have been amazing. Oh, well.
Yeah. I actually think Tommy Lee Jones's Two-Face would have been amazing, too.
If he was Tommy Lee Jones.
Actually, yeah.
If he wasn't asked to play Joker.
Yeah. Tommy Lee Jones' Two-Face. I'm like, okay, that's a good replacement. I'm up. And I'm watching it, and I'm like, he's barely in this movie, and he does nothing. I am so angry because Two-Face was one of my favorites.
Yeah. Well, he's one of the best villains. He's so cool. Like, I was even mad with what they did with him in The Dark Knight, even though it was a good movie.
Yeah.
I was still just kind of like, really? That's all we're gonna get Two-Face? Aw. Like,
well, like those movies were kind of a shame to be comic book movies, and I was really disappointed in that. It's the main reason I was disappointed in the third one, which is still a good film. But everything I don't like about the third one really does come down to I wish it had just been a comic book movie.
mm-hmm.
Because that was how I felt at the end of Dark Knight. I'm like, oh man, if at the end of Dark Knight Killer Croc comes out of the sewers, I'll buy it.
Mm-hmm.
I will completely buy it, no questions asked. All right, he's fighting a crocodile guy now. I'll just buy it. And that's where I thought they were going to go with the third one, especially when they announced that the villain was going to be Bane. I thought it was going to be, oh, well, we're just going to be in comic book land now. Okay, yeah, well.
Mm-hmm.
And I was kind of like, what a genius move to fucking take us from like this gritty, realistic world and slowly make it more comic book like.
That would have been really cool.
Yeah, and so when it was obvious we weren't going to get that, I was like,
yeah.
And then they were like, oh, well, Catwoman isn't going to be in a Catwoman outfit. I was like, what? And then they put her in a Catwoman outfit. I'm like, okay. And then it was just little ears. I'm like, oh, come on.
Yeah.
And then it was, and
then she wasn't a femme fatale.
Wasn't a femme fatale. And I'm like,
That's kind of key to Catwoman.
It's super key to Catwoman.
It's like trying to make Poison Ivy and not make her femme fatale. It's just,
yeah, it really wouldn't work.
You know,
it really wouldn't work. And in my opinion, the Anne Hathaway Catwoman doesn't work.
It's just
really
there.
Sad. Unlike Daredevil show.
Daredevil show is fucking amazing.
Yeah, this feels like a comic book movie. It feels like a gritty late 80s, early 90s comic book movie, but it feels like one.
Yeah. I don't know what to say since we've only watched the one episode. There's not much more to say other than this gets my stamp of approval. I'm looking forward to binge watching the rest of it and seeing where it goes. They laid the groundwork for a whole lot of cool shit.
Oh yeah,
a whole lot of cool shit.
Yeah, it's not like this thing is not like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. where it builds a little slowly and like slowly pulls you in. No, this thing pulls you in from the word
oh
go.
God, yeah. Like this one just right away, just fucking Daredevil right away. Like we're gonna hit you with all key components of Daredevil at once. You know, it's like, hey, here's his origin. Hey, here's him in the confessional. Hey, here's him taking down the crime and letting the devil inside out. It's like,
yeah.
It's like, oh man,
yeah, such economy of storytelling.
You know, like here's him, you know, sitting down with his first case, and despite her having no money, taking the case, much to Foggy's like, you know, and frustrations, because he knows she's innocent and he's not going to let an innocent person suffer.
I like how that's obviously going to be like a key component of the show, his relationship with Foggy.
Yes.
You're like,
well, that was key in the comics. Like Foggy and him constantly have this like this kind of like ribbing each other back and forth like guy friendship that was like key in the comics, to the point where they had times where like Foggy was less there. You could tell it wasn't right.
Yeah, well, there's I like how they in this show they immediately do that thing where it's really obvious. You know, Matt Murdock is going to be like, you know, the superstar who does all the flashy cases, but Foggy's the guy who makes sure the lights stay on. You know, like, you know, Matt, we can't just do this. We got to keep the lights on. I understand how you feel, but
they also nailed fucking Matt Murdock being a complete like ladies man,
womanizer. Yeah, complete.
Well, womanizer's another way to put it. That's a less nice way to put it, but it's true. It's true.
Yeah, he's a complete womanizer. You know? He's a lot like Tony Stark that way.
Yes, just a little less surface sleazy.
Yeah. He's less surface sleazy, a little less machismo.
Yes.
You know, he's just sort of like, well, like he's really popular with the ladies, but he comes across as like a little bit more of like, you know, he's a good listener.
Yeah, absolutely. What Matt Murdock was always good at in the comics was he's good at being the smooth, handsome guy, but also he's not afraid to play the I'm broken card.
Yes.
Because he knows it's gonna get him laid. Like it's like, oh well, I'm blind. You see, it's like
yeah.
Oh, you poor baby.
Yeah, and they do that in this episode.
Yeah, absolutely.
They do that, but it's not real heavy-handed. You just sort of like, I see what you did there.
Yes, absolutely. And I'm like, oh man, no. Like they're hitting all the notes, and then by the end of it, Karen working with them, like I'm like, no, like everything seems in place. This is Daredevil. This is. Yeah. And they did it without just doing an origin story, you know, which is great.
Yeah. Like they told you everything you needed to know. They told you know everything about Daredevil that you need to know, and they didn't waste your time, which is holy crap. That is important. Like just bam, this is how he became Daredevil. Now he's Daredevil, and you know, oh, how did he become a lawyer? How did he become a lawyer? Well, his dad said you gotta study, son. You know, no wasted time, and it is the kind of storytelling I really miss being in movies.
Yes, absolutely.
We don't see it as much in movies anymore.
Which is ironic because it's like a full series, so there's going to be multiple episodes to tell this story. But like in terms of the individual episodes, like there's so much economy here. You know, it's bam, 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 and nothing's missed, and the emotional moments are hitting because they're not like dwelling on anything.
No, they don't dwell on anything. longer than they have to.
Yeah.
You know, it's all about the story and the characterization.
And when they do dwell, it's emotionally impactful because it's not the whole time. You know, it's like when they have like Matt Murdock like punching that bag and like thinking about his dad. You know, it's like no, this is a big moment, so you gotta hold on that a little more. It's like gotta.
Well, they essentially do like the Rocky like training montage,
Yes.
but instead of what they do in Rocky, the things that he's like flashing to is like, oh, the show flashes to like crime that's happening in the city, you know. So like, you know, Daredevil is like he's training to fight his biggest enemy ever, crime.
Absolutely.
You know?
Which, by the way, is another difference between Daredevil and Batman is that on the surface you can read it as, okay, well, Daredevil becomes Daredevil because his dad gets killed by criminals, so he's gonna go fight criminals. But it's more complicated than that because his dad wasn't just killed by criminals. His dad was forced to work for them.
Yeah, he's an enforcer.
Yeah, he was forced to work for them and was basically just like fucking beaten to fucking death and then killed. Like, and Matt's sitting there, and so Matt doesn't just want to fight crime, you know, to stop what happened to his dad. He wants to fight crime to protect the innocent people that are trapped within its like grasp.
Yeah, and almost specifically poor people too.
Yes.
You know, because Hell's Kitchen is basically a ghetto.
That's why Daredevil's the kind of character who will deal with stories like Junkies, because it's like it's people that get roped into this like and are stuck once they're in it. You know, it's like once you get yourself hooked, then all of a sudden they got you. Like, you know, and that's the kind of stuff that Daredevil fights because that's what his dad was. You know.
Yeah, he has a colorful cast of like villains, but it was always best when it was always just like street level crime.
Absolutely, which is what
with
Frank
like Kingpin
Miller,
at the center of it.
Which is what is for all of Frank Miller's faults as a writer, which we're all very familiar with. Why he was so perfect in his run in the '80s Daredevil is because that's what he excels at.
Yeah, a lot of people were like, "Oh, so all the stuff he couldn't like put in Batman he became Sin City." I'm like, no, it's all stuff he couldn't put into Daredevil.
Yeah,
you know it.
I would agree with that actually.
Yeah. Oh man. Well, I don't know. We could probably talk for this for a longer than the episode itself actually is, and maybe we've already gone over that.
We might have. I have no idea how long.
No idea. But yeah, Marvel's Daredevil. Holy crap! Check it out. Really, 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 really good. Just god damn, I could not believe how fast they got me to buy in to this story.
Once the credits hit, I was already like, I'm in.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like already. I'm like, whoa, that was fast.
Yeah, and this is if this is gonna be indicative of the Netflix Marvel shows, holy crap, I cannot wait for the next one.
I can't wait for Luke Cage.
Yeah.
Like, I love Luke Cage as a character.
Luke Cage now.
I love Power Man. I love Luke Cage, and that one's the next one that's gonna be like near and dear to my heart.
Oh man. Yeah. All right. And till next time, peace out.